I definitely feel like this new Higurashi anime is going to be so hard to avoid spoilers for, not because necessarily that the community around Higurashi is more just, hey, you haven't seen the anime, I'm going to spoil you, but more so I feel like there's a very big misunderstanding between everyone on what this anime is. Is it a remake? Is it a sequel? And all I can say, as someone who has no experience with Higurashi other than these 2 episodes, both the director of this anime and the visual novel creator have said that this is a project for both new and old fans alike, that you do not have to see the prior anime to watch this, but there will be things in this series that anime originals, the first time watchers for the series, won't catch upon their first viewing until probably episodes down the line. So this is a show that I am going to plead, do not spoil it for me, do not spoil it for others. Just because things are either revealed early, like apparently that intro scene, I know nothing, I didn't read up on this, I'm just seeing a lot of opinions online. It's clear as day, the intro to this episode is something that people are pretty shocked by because either they never saw something like that in the original or it came much later down the line. All I'm saying is if the visual novel creator himself is saying, this is good, this is how I want it, you do not have to see the original to watch it as well as the director, I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing. I feel like it's almost like a reimagine where things are going to be different but also the same, and that's kind of a brilliant idea in my opinion, because the original anime does have a very big following. While the visual novel creator was not a fan of the original anime, and I heard a lot of Source players who experienced the visual novel weren't a fan of the original Higurashi anime, it does have a big fan base. So I think the idea asks for just be nice and don't spoil it for people, and don't shove you have to go watch the prior anime down our throats, because if the original creator's saying you don't have to, I'm gonna take their word over anyone else's if I'm being honest. As these 2 episodes I've absolutely enjoyed. I think they're thrilling, I think it constantly has my mind wandering, and I think it's a really great series that I understand why it was so popular in so many different mediums. The intro scene, while yes, I have no idea what I'm seeing, the whole Rika and Rina situation, like there's so much happening here and I don't know where it's going, but it definitely feels to me that there's certain things that I can start thinking about with what I'm seeing with this whole scene where I'm just like, there's glass shattered, there's faces in these shards, like I can't pick up on what's happening with these shards, but I'm sure people who've either played the game or have experienced the original anime are probably like, oh, that's a really cool clue, or I didn't expect this to come here. But it's clear as day to me there's something going on with time, and I feel like time is repeating itself, and it almost feels like it's uncertain who can you really trust, because I mean last episode I thought our boy was getting sliced and diced, and I'm not sure if he didn't get sliced and diced because he startled her or she never was going to. I know people always make memes about how this is a series about trust and friendship, and I'm starting to think maybe that's a legit thing, because I can't tell, is our main boy Keiichi testing and kind of reassuring what I was saying last week, where it does feel like with the emphasis of calendars and things like that, it does feel like a timeline loop of some sort. I mean, in this episode, our boy is basically slicing and dicing, trying to break this piece of wood to get Colonel Sanders out of the ground here, and it basically gives him a flashback to when he was beating someone to death with a bat. Whether that actually happened in this reality or a prior one, I don't know, but there's something going on with memories and the idea of time, and that has me ecstatic, because I'm not sure if they're going direct time travel with it, where like we're going re-zero, we're reliving points or something like that, we're rewinding time completely. I don't know exactly where they're going, but there is a big focus on time and the idea that certain characters clearly know more than our main man, but at the same time it does get my mind racing who's friend and who's foe. Because right now, I kind of want to trust the cameraman, but I feel like that's the dumbest thing I can say, because I feel like the cameraman is going to be the Jason of this series, just slicing and dicing. But at the same time, it feels like we can't trust our main character, because apparently he's killed people. We have these psychopathic girls who I guess are going to start killing, but maybe they're doing so to save their own world. Like, I don't know. And that's such a fun concept to have all this information pile on us. And while there's going to be some people who've never experienced Higurashi saying, okay, I guess I gotta go rewatch the original because, you know, I don't know what's going on here, it feels to me that this is a show that not only requires rewatches, but also allows you to piece things together as you watch. Whatever happened at the beginning of this episode is something that I feel like at episode 12 or maybe even episode 24, I'm going to be like, oh, I really like that scene because it made your mind think in this way, but by the time you understood the context of what that just happened, like everything changes. And I love shows like that aren't this direct linear approach of, okay, you start at episode 1, you start at episode 24, and everything that gets revealed per episode is very easy to digest and you just completely understand every little context about it. This is a show that I feel like at episode 7, I'm going to think back to episode 2 or 3 and be like, oh, that little scene, that 2-minute or that 2-second word, right? I'm like, that's what this means and how it relates right now. I think that's so interesting, and the more rewatches, I feel like I'm going to discover more and more things to love about this show. And I love the production value because it definitely, for the most part, it screams nice, simple. We're in Nana Biyori setting, right? We're just going to school, we're playing around, we're goofing off, and then these things will happen. Or, I mean, last week I really complimented the cicadas, or what they were. I just called them insects because I completely forgot, and then I learned about when the cicadas cry, and I thought that was a genius for a name. But it was interesting towards the end of the episode when you're having this like dance and this, I don't know exactly what you would call that, a very interesting cultural thing, and I really liked the music, but as the drum was beating more and more, it got you more anxious. And both episode 1 and 2 did different things with sound. Last week was really with the cicadas and really getting you so nervous, not knowing what to say or feel. But then with this episode, it was the drum beat, the increasing presence, and then you just end the episode. It's like, is this man going on a date or is he about to do some savage things? I don't know who I should trust in or what I should believe. Is anything we're seeing actually real? Is this like one timeline? Is memories just being altered? Who's actually real? Like, how many of these characters actually know of the history? Like, does everyone, and besides our main man, is he the one behind all that savage stuff? Like, it's hard to say, and I love that. I think it's just something that definitely has me more anxious than any show this season, and I love that about this, and I'm really hoping I can stay as spoiler-free as possible, and I have plenty of people who are subscribed to me who are like, I really hope you avoid spoilers because this is going to be a fun show to review, and also just see your blind reaction, because I think that's something I can agree with. Like, when you do discover a channel or just a person who's never experienced something that blew your mind, it's fun to see how they react to it, but then also to see how their opinions could differ, or if they pick up on things or completely go left field. So we're just going to drop, oh no, yeah, this is how episode 2 should have been, and really episode 6 comes along and what they just spoiled is what happened. It's like, I just hope that. I mean, I know people are probably going to think like, oh, you know, you spend a lot of time in this review talking about, you know, people probably spoiling, but no one's gonna. It just feels to me with the way the community around this anime is forming, there's a very big mindset of you either have to have watched the original anime or I'm going to spoil it. That's kind of how it feels to me, and I could be completely mistaken. It could just be a select few acting that way. But I'm really trying to reinforce, like, if people who are involved in this are saying you do not have to watch it, I think we should take their word at face value and, you know, see where the show's going, because I think it definitely isn't a direct remake, but rather it's like, here's an alternative version that ties into probably prior events in the anime that came out before, but also this is its own standalone adventure, and I think that's kind of a cool way to bring new and old fans alike into a new version of it. So if you did really enjoy the prior anime, it's not going to erase it, but also if you didn't enjoy it, here's a new complete version of it that you can enjoy by itself, and I think that's quite brilliant. I'm really enjoying the show. I think the uncertainty, and while yes, I can't hone in on one thing and say this for sure, it feels like everyone's a psychopath in this show, including our main man, and I love that. I love not knowing what's happening, and then you just blend in these normal, simple slice of life scenes, which honestly I enjoyed even more in episode 2 than episode 1, so I'm hoping they really continue to deliver, because so far this is an exceptional show that even though I never watched the original anime or played the visual novel, I'm loving my time with it. It's one of my favorite of the fall season. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. If you did play the original game or you watch the original anime, please be vague. Anyway, anyone else who has no experience anime original, where are your theories and speculations going? Because this is definitely something that makes you think, and I'd be interested to hear where other people's minds are going, because right now my mind is wandering, and I love that. If you enjoyed the video, of course, we'd like to show your support and hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.